All right, welcome to the Black Barbers Doc podcast.
Hmm.
Roland Martin, I appreciate you for your time. We're here at Clark Atlanta University, y'all, and Roland Martin is just talking about his greatness of the masterclass and being on time, being prep ready, and things of that sort. So basically, let's dive into this podcast episode. So, Roland, let's talk about the election. I did an event the other day and things of that sort, and just
Hmm.
basically talking about the black barbershop, how important of that role is for that black barbershop to be um, that personal meeting space of just basically sharing information. Can you talk about the importance of the barbershop and for voting and things?
Well,
of
I
that
mean, the thing is, a lot of people don't have accurate information. So therefore, you need to be in a place where people begin to understand what the issues are. It's a lot of misinformation that's targeted specifically to African Americans and specifically black men. When Senator Kamala Harris ran in 2019, she was under the most vicious attack from Russian troll farms. In 2020, they discovered the largest Black Lives Matter page on Facebook was a Russian troll farm. So we have to understand that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing that's being thrown at black folks are not black folks. It's trolls. It's farms. Because they understand in terms of how we are impacted by this, and so we have to recognize how significant that is, and then recognize how it's being fed to us.
Wow, that's pretty deep. So
Yep, you just slide this way, you're not in the frame.
Oh, thanks.
There you go.
Thanks. He's directing too as well. He's a
No,
techie.
I see everything. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
that's cool.
You all frame, but go ahead.
It's cool. You're techie as well as like me, so I get it. So let's just talk about also. So let's talk about your experiences in the barbershop and things like that. What are some of the conversations that you've had?
Well, it was a long time ago. So, I mean, and here's the other thing that we got to also recognize. The barbershop has changed because you've got cats now where barbers are mobile. So we have to recognize that dialogue actually has changed. You got brothers who are now doing appointments.
True.
So it's not like it used to be where you go in and it's like 8, 10, 12, like you waiting sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours to get a cut.
All day.
So we have to recognize that there also now are other spaces where black men are. And we also have to begin to learn to create other spaces to have the dialogue. Because again, there's a lack of information for a lot of people. A lot of brothers and sisters, and white folks and others as well, don't understand politics, don't understand how they're connected. And so we have to begin to teach people how to connect the dots. So they begin to understand what city does and school district and county and state and federal.
Right.
Because people make the assumptions that, oh, well, CBC ain't doing this here. Well, that may not be their role because you don't understand what their job is.
Right. So what, in your opinion, what can we do as a society or an African American community to get people out to vote?
Well, first of all, I can't get you out to vote unless you're registered. I can't get you registered unless you're informed. So we have to recognize that there's an information deficit. Over the last 25 years, we've seen a total destruction of black-owned media. Ebony is not what it used to be. Jet doesn't exist. BET is no longer black-owned. They don't have news.
Right.
TV One is black-owned. They have no news since my show got canceled December 2017. You look at black radio. You hear music. You don't hear news. And so where we get our information from? Then people say, well, I'm getting my information from Instagram and TikTok. Well, who are the folks on Instagram and TikTok? What information are you getting? Are you getting from credible sources? And so that's part of the issue as well. So we have to actually go, I say we got to have Schoolhouse Rock 2.0. We got to go back to freedom schools. We got to go back to where we actually are teaching people civics because a lot of us don't understand civics.
Oh wow! So let me ask you this question. So back in I think it was 2018 when you came to Shaw for the commencement, not the commencement, convocation.
Yep.
And you had the band jumping and things like that. You changed. That was really dope, by the way. And I remember going with you in the mass comm department because I'm a graduate of Shaw, and we went around to these different polls and things of that sort. And here we are again, meeting again. I feel like it's divine timing, you know. So the importance of voting. What is something that, like, why is voting important? Why do
Well,
you feel
first
like
of all,
voting is
you
important?
can't. If you have an issue with anything in your community, it's tied to government. I keep trying to explain to people, all the people who say, I don't want government in my life, it's the stupidest thing in the world because the reality is government is in your life. Your birth certificate is a government document. When you get immunized to go to elementary school, it's a government document. When you get your high school diploma, government document. When you get married, government document. When you get divorced, government document. When you die, death certificate, government document. And so folks have to understand that. And so the reality is there's nothing in our lives that government doesn't have a role in. The reality is the air quality outside. Government plays a role in that. When you talk about gas emissions, plays a role in that. When you talk about parks, we don't want our kids playing on playground equipment with lead paint. Government has regulations there, and so we have to understand how that works. And so I think a lot of us are confused by it. So we have to begin to, again, teach people so they can understand politics and civics, but then we got to explain to them the election is over. That's the end of one process, the beginning of another. Now we got to hold people accountable. How do we push them? How do we challenge them? How do we show up at City Hall and county government and a school board to make sure these things get done? People say, well, I did my part, I voted. No, that's the end of one process. Now it's another.
Wow. And I'm going to end with this. So you did a master class today, or this big empowerment, just encouraging the students and my students as well. So I really want to thank you for that. What are some of the best? You dropped a lot of great gems. What are some of the why was this important to you, and why were you here?
Well, because I've always said the biggest problem that I have with colleges, they're not bringing people with real world experience back. So classrooms are theoretical spaces. They're academic spaces. They're not necessarily real world. I remember when I was in economics class when I was in college, and they said the theories that we're teaching aren't used in the real world. I raised my hand. I was like, so why in the hell are we learning them? I mean, it made no sense to me. I'm like, teaching a theory, like, it made no sense to me at all. So we have to be bringing folks back who are giving real knowledge, expertise of what's going on, so folks actually have that and they can latch on to it, as opposed to just the information they're getting is just not good information. And that's why, I'm frank, I'm honest, I'm direct, and I want people to understand that what I'm laying out is telling you what is happening in real time. And so to me, that's why it's important.
So in some of the students that asked questions, did you see anybody in the crowd or hear anything that someone said that you felt like from the students that that sparked your interest?
Well, there were a couple of people who did, but here was interesting. The two students who asked the most questions, who showed the most interest, when they came up, neither one asked my information. And I'm like, did y'all not hear what I just told you for 2 hours? It was, and again, that happens. To me, I'm like, I literally explained for 2 hours why networking, building relationships, getting information. I gave real-time example of how I benefited from that later in career. And literally, I had to make most students take the contact information.
Yes.
And so again, they're not understanding.
Absolutely.
You may never have an opportunity to see me again. Or you may say, hell, I gotta maximize this opportunity. Why would you come up to me, take a selfie, and then walk away? So in real time, they did not apply to what I spent 2.5 hours telling them.
Right.
That's why it's important, because, and again, guess what? There's gonna be some student who wants an internship, who wants a job, and then it's like, oh, damn. Oh, he owns a company. They got intern. I could have now I got to try to find, hey, do you know? Or I got to go to the website.
Absolutely.
As opposed to getting the information, immediately following up. Great to meet you. Whatever. That's what I did. That's how I built my relationships up. And so I do that purposely. That's also why I don't give it out. I make them come ask me.
Absolutely.
I could have put my QR code on the screen. No. Right. I wanted to see who was going to show the initiative to ask for it.
Right. And that's something that I try to tell my students in the classroom as well. I think it's really more so, a lot of students these days, they lack a little bit of critical thinking skills and how to finish.
But also showing initiative.
Yeah, I can't, like, I waited for the interview. Like you said, we might have time, we might not have time. It's either I was going to get
and there are some people I've done where they didn't want to wait.
Yeah, but then you don't have no interview.
There you go. There you go.
But also, I want to take this a step further, because this is our second time meeting. And before we wrap, is there would you allow me to come onto your show to basically talk about the barbershop and basically push the platform, basically my barbershop platform, on why it's important to vote, and this podcast and the short film and things of that sort, and then just basically.
Well, it's possible, because look, we're having people on talk about the election, so we're doing that right now. So it just comes down to, again, what it is, and then what's the reach, things along those lines. So we factor, like my producers, we take stuff and then we do all of our segments and stuff like that. So we actually do it. So the easiest thing is to email her, and then we put together our show, and then we go from there.
Copy. Anything you want to leave?
Nope.
All
good.
It's Roland being Roland. Nope. Direct to the point.
No, we straight. We good.
Thank you so much, man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Thanks
time.
a bunch.
All right. Take care.
All right.